Hi, Darin Mangum here, the PPM Attorney. This is the last video in my 5-part series on securities compliance when it comes to initial coin offerings or cryptocurrency, blockchain-related assets. And if you haven't watched the other 4 videos, that's fine. You can go back and watch those later. But today, this last video, I'm talking about really who's regulating cryptocurrency today when it comes to the very first video we talked about the regulatory landscape briefly, but today I want to talk about the specific agencies that are getting involved in the space and what you need to be certainly mindful of. Most of what I've talked about in this series have been emphasis has been placed upon the securities laws. The SEC has certainly taken a strong position. Some of the other regulators besides the SEC include the CFTC, which is the Commodities Futures and Trading Commission, the FinCEN, which is the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, and now the Internal Revenue Service is getting involved. And that's not the only people. Certainly, you always have state regulators that kind of vary state to state. And also, when it comes to securities professionals in the securities industry, the Financial Industry Regulatory Agency, or FINRA, is certainly getting involved in this space. Cryptocurrency is so unique because it depending on what stage it is in its evolutionary life, or depending on what angle or what vantage point you're looking at, it certainly takes on different characteristics. Clearly, as we've been talking about in these prior videos, the fact that it is a security is very clear when it's in when you're in a building stage, when you're building the platform, when you're creating the currency, you're using the capital, you're selling the tokens or you're selling the investment contracts because you're going to build this thing, this cryptocurrency, and that's clearly going to fall squarely in the securities realm. Once it actually becomes a tradable, in other words, once you've stopped raising capital, once you're actually just using the token for its utility back and forth, like a Bitcoin, then obviously it takes on the characteristic of a commodity, and that's obviously where the CFTC gets involved. They have very clear laws and rules that govern a token or govern a cryptocurrency that is being utilized as a commodity, and so they obviously require full and fair disclosure. Again, some people get the impression that all these U.S. government agencies are anti-Bitcoin or anti-cryptocurrency. It's really not the case. What they're trying to do is make sure investors know what they're doing. That they know, hey, they've got hard-earned money that they're putting into this cryptocurrency or this blockchain-related token, and they just want to make sure that they have full and fair disclosure, and that's really it. And as long as you provide full and fair disclosure under, again, whether it's a security, whether it's a commodity, then you're going to be fine. Now, one aspect of cryptocurrency is when it's being treated like a currency, then the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, or FinCEN, which is a part of the Department of Treasury, certainly gets involved. They certainly view a lot of cryptocurrency, especially cryptocurrency exchanges, as a money service business that need to be registered with FinCEN. And so a money service or a money services business includes any person that operates as a money transmitter, right? And so if you look at a cryptocurrency as currency or money, then certainly registration under FinCEN's regulations apply. And not only under FinCEN, but also state regulators as well. And so I've had clients that are attempting to engage in exchange-like activities, and so FinCEN is somebody that you need to be aware of. Now, when it comes to the Internal Revenue Service, or the IRS, most of the time they've kind of taken a hands-off approach when it comes to cryptocurrency. It's funny because whereas FinCEN views it as a currency, IRS does not look at it as a currency, but they do consider it as a capital asset. And so when you're buying and selling trading securities, and you're making profits on those trades, then certainly they view it as a capital asset. It's not just monopoly money, but it's an actual capital asset that's subject to capital gains. And certainly when you're in the process of, say, mining a cryptocurrency, mining Bitcoin, I mean, your basis in that that investment certainly comes into play, and what you sell it for comes into play. And so when it comes to reporting any sort of gains, that's important to keep in mind. One example of how the Internal Revenue Service, or IRS, has gotten involved in the cryptocurrency space is their summons that they sent to Coinbase not too long ago, requesting the identity of all of its account holders. And obviously, Coinbase, they tried to preserve the identity or prevent that release from happening, but the IRS was making the point that, hey, all this trading, all these potential profits, virtually none of it had been reported on any sort of tax return for during that tax year, and so that's why they were sending the subpoena. And ultimately, they were successful in going to court and getting release of information from Coinbase in order to enforce the income tax law. And so that's just another example of how government regulation is obviously trying to rein in the cryptocurrency space. And again, it's not that they're anti-blockchain, anti cryptocurrency. And really, for a cryptocurrency to mature into a legitimate asset class, they really have to go through this process, and they have to play by the same rules that everybody else plays by. Which some people don't like that. They like the little bit of Wild West renegade attitude. But again, if you look at cryptocurrency or blockchain related technology for the long run, it's just a matter of maturing and growing up, and especially if this space is going to be attracting institutional investment and serious capital, it really has to play by these rules. And so, anyway, this has sort of been an overview of all the regulatory issues to think about. Hopefully, this 5-part series has been helpful to give you a broad overview of considerations to think about. If you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to me. You can leave some comments below, and I'll try to respond to those. Or you feel free to subscribe or to like this video or share it with other people. Even if you're not doing cryptocurrency yourself, you certainly may have others that may benefit from this content. And so anyway, again, Darin Mangum, the PPM Attorney / Cryptocurrency Attorney. Hopefully you find this videos helpful, and certainly I've got a lot of other content out there, and glad to help. Thank you.